another episode of Resident Evil 2. We're doing Leon's story, so I'm calling it Leon the Professional Rookie. We're going to do the second half of it. Meanwhile, in the last episode, we had Leon start on Scenario B, which is the second run of the game. So he basically saves Claire from the... I guess to recap, he saves Claire from the gas station zombie, drives into town, they get separated by the truck, and then he ends up at the, like, at a different kind of wing of the entrance of the police station, with a makeshift graveyard kind of thing, where they're burying bodies and whatnot. So, that's a thing. Yeah. And then after that, we explored the, shortly after that, we explored, oh crap, what was it? Yeah, we explored the police station. We got all the key items, dodged, Mr. X Gonna Give It To You, aka the Tyrant, aka Cream of Wheat, aka Dr. Aquafresh, aka Big Jennifer Gardner, aka Carl, that's with a C, not a K, Carl. Yeah, and a little bit of that. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of the thing that's going on right now. And after that, we went into the underground, kind of like the underground, going into the into the parking garage, where we face Birkin, and then we meet Ada Wong and all that goodness. Let me see. Yeah, we meet Ada Wong and all her goodness, and then oh, here's Kevin. Alright, hey buddy, how you doing? Yeah, I just looked up and saw it. I'm gonna go ahead and start here after I do my shameless self-promotions. Sorry, I tend to get tongue-tied and off track a little bit. Sorry, I love that. Yeah, so basically, keep their heads ringing. Yeah, I like getting all the achievements and stuff and whatnot. Yeah, so now I'm in the sewers. So basically, to kind of recap, I fought Birkin, met Ada, went through the parking garage where, you know, you go through the jail, and then you beat the doggos, and after that you got to do the second run through of the police station. Then you got to do the other thing. I went into the sewer. I'm barely starting the sewer level. Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice thing. It's kind of where I left off with Claire the other night, just at the start of the sewer level. So it's kind of the same thing here, just the start of the sewer level. So who knows where this could take us? FBI Special Ada Wong. At least that's the name she offered. Viewing Leon. Oh. So yeah. Okay. So let's see. Alright, so kill shot. This is a kill shot right here when he turns the gun to the side. I think it's kind of funny because, like, here we have Leon in all his Leon glory, but if you ever played any Resident Evil, this is how Leon holds a gun. Like, even when he runs, this is how he holds the gun usually. If you ever played RE4, or even, I think it's even in RE6, he'll hold the gun like this. Doesn't matter what gun it is or handgun it is. He will hold the handgun like that. It's kind of his thing.
It's not too late to turn back, Leon.
No chance. You're stuck with me to the end. Ugh. You sure this is the right way?
So,
Fortunately.
and then whenever he gets his gangster gun, he just kind of holds it on the side.
Wait there.
And the reason why I call it the gangster gun is because in the original game, he was kind of dressed as any generic white rapper. As an old man once told me, he called it the Sesame Street rapper.
Leon! Get out of there!
I like to think this is kind of an allusion to Resident Evil 4, whenever they had the little boulder incident. And I like the little boulder stuff, and or like some of the quick time stuff, but other than that, it wasn't kill shot, just like I said. But I think people are kind of tired of the
Chew on that.
quick time events where these games are known for.
You overgrown son of a bitch.
Oh, he swore. He swore. He said a swear.
Leon, up here.
What the hell was?
Just get up here.
You know, I've actually seen some interesting things where people actually like hack the game and they put cameras where cameras didn't belong
You said the virus turned
to kind of see what would happen. And I think in the game, it's Ada just appears.
It in one piece.
It's kind of an interesting thing. And on top of that, like, if you ever play Resident Evil 7 where they changed the camera to be behind the person, you literally have no head. It was a torso, and it was just basically everything from the neck down.
Umbrella sells monsters like that.
Yeah.
To who?
And I don't even want to imagine the VR, because the VR, the guy's only there for like,
They don't sell
it's
the
like
monsters.
half his forearm, his wrist, and then his hands. So whenever you see his hand cut off, you have like a floating half forearm. It's actually pretty hilarious. And the VR would make it scary, but I can't take the floating arms thing seriously. It's like Rayman from the Rayman, where they don't have any limbs connecting to the body. Let's see. One of the things I always appreciated in this game, it's probably one of my favorite designs. You can hate all you want, but honestly, I think out of all his his second best costume has to be the remake's version of his police outfit. Honestly, not only does it look realistic, but honestly, it's pretty dope to see. The first variation that I like is Leon in his his fighter bomber jacket. It's a really nice jacket at the very beginning of RE4. Never see it again, but it was in all the promotional material. Was Leon in his nice jacket?
Oh yeah?
And I think, in fact, if you play Ada separate ways, you go through the village, and a guy apparently, Ganado, he has the jacket on.
Didn't expect that from a scientist. Leon.
Forget about me. Just go. Stop her before she gets away.
I'm right outside the facility in pursuit of Annette.
Let me see.
If it's not on her, it must be in the nest. Once it's in hand, I'll call for extraction. You can run, Annette, but you can't hide.
Hey. Alright, so here we go. Sorry about that. More shameless promotion. Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. I actually don't have the option here to select the thing. It's not even in my inventory. And you'll see what I mean if you ever played the game. You go and you interact with the ladder, and she goes, oh, hey, it's a fan. And then she pulls out this Batman-like gadget. I call it a Batman-like gadget because I've seen something similar to this
Secret weapon time.
in the, what's it called? It's like the hacking tool in Batman. And you basically just point it whenever you're in detective mode, and then boom. Maybe they drew inspiration from the Batman games, I don't know.
Candy from a baby.
But I will say that's kind of a fun thing right there. I don't know, I think it's fun. Oh no! And there goes all my fans. I no longer have fans on YouTube. Yeah, apparently you also get like an achievement or a reward if you go through this without actually shooting a single shot, and you only use this thing, which is entirely possible. I've done it. I think I've actually completed a lot of the achievement stuff on here too. It was also kind of a necessary whenever I had to run this game in crap. Yeah, it was pretty necessary whenever I had to speedrun this game. But you had to like memorize everything. I will say one of the things that sucks is you don't get the quick time action to actually break away before they even give you a chomp. I missed that, but it's also supposed to be reminiscent of classic Resident Evil whenever you get nabbed. Again, not a bad thing. But there are just some things where you're like, why? I want this. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of, when it comes to this, I'm kind of dumb. So I'm not remembering how this all went. There it is. Yeah, no, got it. That's fine. I probably should have just legged it and go, but yeah. I will say though, one of the things about the death screens that I hate is you can't skip them. You can skip every cutscene but that. And I think that just adds insult to injury, and the developers knew what they were doing when they did that. They totally did. They can't lie to me for crap. I know what they did. Oh yeah, interestingly enough, you can only get whenever you have to speedrun both games, you only get 3 saves to unlock S+.
It's secret weapon time.
Oh yeah. I just did this. Yeah, you see, Like I said, I'm kind of dumb. I'm not the sharpest knife in the crayon box. Woohoo!
Candy from a baby.
Yeah, I had to memorize how to do everything here. I had to memorize a lot of different patterns. Like, you wouldn't believe what you actually have to memorize when you play this game. Especially during the speed run. If you're playing this game regularly, then I just leg all the zombies and go. It's easier to leg and go, because you don't get enough ammo with her, especially since, like, this is pretty much the only time in the second run where you actually get handgun ammo out in the open. Because everything else for Leon is advanced handgun ammo. Yeah. And then you can pick up grenades for her. Oh my gosh. But you see, the thing is, he's kind of wearing civilian clothing. It makes me wonder how civilians got down here and trapped. Yeah, but you guess zombies will get anywhere that's kind of awkward. Yeah, I go up the elevator, I find a net.
Got you now. Always been good at running, Annette. Give you that.
I think there are people who try to run and glitch the game to catch a net beforehand, and apparently you kind of can't.
Persistent bastard, aren't you?
Oh, it was dumb. Yeah, man, really punched me out. Yeah, that's the part I always messed up. I think with Leon's, like, first save, I didn't save before Birkin, like most people recommend. I actually saved before the Ada part, so I could redo Ada. But I also did that on his first run through. And I understand the developers are kind of going for tension with this one. But man, you guys suck. Yeah, especially since he laid me out. Because, yeah, if you go with the actual timeline of events, with the fact that Leon is always behind Claire. That means that it takes a short amount of time for that tyrant to heal from being disemboweled the way he was. And honestly, that's a scary feat on his own, you know? I also like that the autosave picked up from right there. I think supposedly you're supposed to actually finish this part of the game. Supposedly you're supposed to be able to finish this part maybe with no tries. I don't know. Can't remember. Yeah, and then pretty much you break this open. Kind of a home stretch. I had to do this part many times before I was able to complete it with Hardcore S. I remember one time I played this game in front of my brother, and he was like, "How are you gonna get past this, buddy?" And he goes, "This is a harder part." And I'm like, "No, it's not that difficult.
It's gonna burn me alive now.
You just gotta kind of memorize everything."
Filthy hands on the G. I'm not the only one after it. You realize that?
And you won't die alone.
Yeah, I totally forgot how to do this too, I won't lie. Okay. Like I said, it's kind of like Batman's hacking tool. It's my hacking business. Man, if y'all guys understood that reference, y'all are awesome. Also a very underrated game. Yeah, I remember doing this and screwing up, and my brother got really nervous, like, oi. Like, he went, oi. Because I was helping him out with this part, or I think I was, like, playing this part. I said, I won't save, but he had a hard time with the Ada part. Actually, now I think about it, I don't think he knows I'm streaming right now. Let me see. And then, let's go to my brother. Oh yeah, I forgot to respond to my brother's Kevin's text message. It's kind of funny because he okay, so we were talking about Marvel Comics. One of Kevin's favorite Marvel comics is actually where the world, it's like Earth 14412, if I'm correct. And apparently, that is the Earth where...
October 1st. Please return before this date.
Not gonna happen.
Oh, that's funny. Anyways, you see, basically the universe is coming to an end, and the only people that are left is actually Doctor Doom, who has the spirit of vengeance, and basically he's an immortal being now. And for those that don't know, Spirit of Vengeance is Ghost Rider's powers, to oversimplify it a little bit. Thor is still around, but he's kind of like an old Asgardian man at this point. And Wolverine's still alive, but he's carrying the Phoenix Force. And apparently the Phoenix Force makes him so powerful that his entire Phoenix Force wingspan goes all the way across the galaxy. So when people see Phoenix coming towards them, and Wolverine actually almost kills Thor. And if my brother read it correctly, Doctor Doom actually pin and stares Thor and then tries to go after Wolverine, but I think Wolverine ends up killing him. Yeah. Then Wolverine brings Thor back by infusing the Phoenix into Mjolnir, killing himself in the process, and Thor flies into Earth's mantle and fights Doctor Doom for 99 years before finally killing him. Not to mention the Phoenix Force grew so big its wingspan spanned a galaxy. Yeah. And I do recall that. Like, as soon as you mentioned the Earth comic you were talking about, it totally hit me. It was the one comic book that you bought and you were geeking out about. And that was like after you read the origins of Miss Marvel and then some teenage Loki stuff, if I recall. Because at the time when we first got our Kindles, you were buying Marvel comics like no one's business and some DC here and there. I ended up buying some Power Rangers Boom Studio comics, which are pretty awesome. I love reading the Power Rangers. For those that don't know, actually, most likely y'all will know, but Boom Studios did their own Power Rangers run. They took an old IP that no one really cared for, or at least no one cared for as far as our age. All we had was a TV show as nostalgia. Nobody actually kind of looked back at it, except for whenever the TV show, the current TV series of Power Rangers wants to remind you every once in a while, Mighty Morphin still exists. So they bring Tommy and some older Rangers around. For those, yeah. It's kind of a... Yeah, it's a thing onto its own. For those that don't know, I think it's kind of funny that Ada never uses this elevator. Like, what's his name? Leon has to discover this elevator exists. And so the Power Rangers, I won't go into any spoilery details, but basically it kind of picks up right where, right where, sorry, I'm just kind of, I'm kind of drawing a blank, but it picks up right where Green with Evil, it's like a 5-part Power Rangers episode, but basically, if you watch Power Rangers when you're a kid, there's a 5-part episode. It's like a mini arc for the original Power Rangers called Green with Evil, and there's 5 parts to it. And apparently, if you grew up around that time, that was probably the most intense thing you ever see in your childhood. Honestly, that sounded actually pretty awesome. And I've actually watched it. I had to watch it as reruns on TV for the original Power Rangers, because by the time I was actually a child, I could remember Power Rangers. Power Rangers Turbo and Power Rangers in Space were one of the big Power Rangers that came out at the time. But they kept doing reruns and reruns and reruns. They just ran those reruns to the ground. And I absolutely loved them as a kid. I ate them up. And I remember having to wait, like, I think Mighty Morphin Power Rangers original, I had to wait, like, for some reason, I don't know, or another, they actually aired the Green with Evil 5 parts episodes for some reason, as if they were kind of new episodes. And before you say they probably were new episodes, you noob, this was back in like 1997, 1998. To kind of show you the time span I'm talking about here. So, for some reason, they were showing the original Mighty Morphin like once a week. So, I had to wait quite a while. Well, maybe it was probably like once a day. I still waited quite a while. And it got pretty intense. It blew my 5-year-old mind. Like, how is this, like, in my honest opinion, I was kind of like, this is the most amazing thing ever. Because I thought Tommy was one of the coolest Rangers ever. Because as a kid, I always knew that Tommy became the White Ranger because I always watched the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. And he eventually became the Red Ranger in Zeo. And then the Red Ranger again in Turbo. Because at that point, that's exactly who Tommy was to me as a child. Tommy did all those things. Did you guys just see that? I slashed this dude once and he just falls over. Like, honestly, I don't know if I should, like, if that was like a luck. That has to be the ultimate luck. Like, oh my gosh. Wow. I'm over here talking about Power Rangers and I just went and just slashed this dude.
Son of a bitch.
Like, oh my gosh. I actually kind of want to capture that and make it into like a highlight reel. I don't know, maybe I'll watch my streams again and try to pick the top 10, a top 10 kill death for this game. And probably put some hilarious Bad News Bears into it or something. Alright. So yeah, it's just one of those for your information. Power Rangers back then was pretty lit. So back to the comics, it picks up from where Tommy stopped being an evil Green Ranger, but apparently it also alluded to the fact that there was a Tommy that actually succeeded in defeating the Power Rangers as a Green Ranger, and to a lot of people, that was like That was like the opening to that comic, actually. And then it shows Tommy being a good guy. So a lot of people kind of just took it for, oh, this is just a victory moment whenever he defeated the Rangers that one time. But then, to everyone's surprise, that wasn't the case. Oh, crap. Okay. That dude's a jerk. Okay. I didn't bring it. Dang it. That's fine. There we go. I wasted a lot of ammo on that. So anyways, yeah, and then they kind of have, the team actually did something that was kind of different. They actually had a drama to the show by having Tommy being doubted as as an actual ally. Like, it seemed as though the team was much more hesitant in inviting him in, and it wasn't so happy-go-lucky like it was in the show, where they're like, oh man, it's totally cool, dude. No, it was kind of like, we'll let you join because Zordon asked us to, pretty much.
Where'd she go?
Yeah, it was a very hesitant thing. And then the thing is also, Zordon will actually lecture the Rangers when he feels like they're in the wrong. Like, he actually, like, I think there was one time where Tommy hesitated because Rita was talking to him, and he was they were basically trying to kill a Gamera ripoff, and the Megazord was holding the thing, and the Dragon Zord was supposed to spear him in the chest, but Tommy took too long. And then, boom. It took out one of the passengers, and so Pterodactyl... It took out, like, a bridge. Vehicles fell out. So Pterodactyl Zord detaches from the Megazord, catches the cars, puts them somewhere else, and makes them safe. And then the team starts lecturing Tommy, saying, you're probably part of Rita's plan. And the only person that's trying to make it work with Tommy, well... Turns out it was Kimberly, and we all know that Kimberly had romantic feelings for Tommy. If y'all didn't know, sorry, spoilers, but that's in the original show, so it's about 30 years old.
Virus. I'll bet those rats.
So sorry you didn't know what everybody else knew. What's called? Other than that, then it starts going into storylines like the Black Dragon arc, where they're like, hey, what's this guy named Black Dragon? What's he about? And Black Dragon reveals, oh, well, I'm actually evil. Like, I'm an evil, I'm evil, I work for Rita, and Rita, or I'm evil, I'm working with Rita. Not for Rita, with Rita. And I'm here to take down the Power Rangers. The guy goes, what? Nah, come on. And so, the other Rangers figure out, because apparently they figure out how to get inside of Black Dragon to kind of shut him down, because they figured he was a robot at some point. And they actually have him growing large. Kind of like Magic Wand, make my monster grow kind of thing. Well, it turns out, Rita wasn't too... turns out that apparently one of the Rangers says the inside of the Black Dragon looks familiar. What makes him different from anything else that we ever faced? Turns out it was the inside of the Dragon Zord. And there's an evil version of Tommy from another world named Lord Draken that was controlling him remotely. Yeah. And it became one of the dun-dun-dun moments. And I know I loved how I loved the fact that I said no spoilers, but sorry. Yeah. And then they did the whole Shatter Grid, where basically Basically the story is that Lord Draken is messing with the morphing grid really hardcore and actually starts doing some damage. And he actually goes and kills other rangers. Like, I think at one point the entire let me see here. I have to take a little detour to help the girl I found. If I don't save her, I hate to think what might happen. You go on ahead. You're almost out of the city. Don't worry about me. I'll make it out. Promise. Yeah. Okay, so here's something that's kind of fun that I did. I explained this to my brother. So the way I see the story is that Claire goes through the story, she goes through the police station and unlocks everything before Leon even is able to enter the police station. Apparently the time he takes to get dressed is apparently the time that Claire solves all the puzzles and goes in and finds Sherry Birkin, goes to the parking garage and talks to Chief Irons. By the time Leon catches up, if you basically ignore the puzzles exist for Leon, Leon actually skips all the puzzles and he goes down to see if he can find let me see, give me a second. Oh wait. Hold on, wait. Sorry. I'm talking to my friend. She was telling me a funny story about her and another friend getting whistled at Sonic, and they basically took the cat calling and said, "Haha, we're gonna turn it back on you, bro." And well, basically, yeah, she had her 2 cents. Yeah. Yeah, these are some old college buddies, and well, I guess I won't go as far and say they're they're college buddies. So I met one of them at college actually. How did I miss twice? Crap! Dang it, Hideo Kojima zombie. I like to point out that one of those shots were BS because he went through the stairs. Yeah, I don't care if I wasted a grenade. That was worth it. Anything that wishes death upon me in this game, I don't mind blowing it up. It deserves it because it crossed me. So anyways, yeah, yeah. All of them are really good, I was actually, one friend of mine I met this girl, I was still in college, yes. But we took karate class together, and it wasn't like I took karate classes at college. It was there was a dojo within the town that I lived at, and I happened to show up, and she showed up, and she wanted to learn how to defend herself, and she was and she wanted to learn how to defend herself, you know, usual things. but there was also the fact that later on we actually learned that this was actually cool stuff that she was interested in. She took the self-defense aspect of it because, you know, it doesn't hurt. But then she wanted to learn more. Like, it was more, she wanted to take all the classes that were available to her whenever she could go. Because, she wanted to get as much, she wanted to learn as much as she possibly could. And on top of that, I found out later that she was actually really big into anime. We didn't get along at first because I kind of like, well, I get what's called. I guess I had some personality issues and I came off on the wrong foot. So it was completely and totally on my end. But then later on, as we got to know each other and I kind of calmed down a bit, I guess I didn't come off as that bad of a guy after all. I will say though, there are times where I can be a little much, so I don't blame her. Heck, I'm surprised I still keep friends around. Won't lie. I can be overbearingly annoying. Not sometimes at the same time, sometimes at not. So anyways, as I'm getting at, as I am. So essentially, we became friends that way, and then shortly even after, we continued our friendship. It's pretty dope. I will say it was a really great friendship. We continued friendship, and we started playing D&D. She actually was getting into it with her friends, if I remember correctly. But she was the DM, but she felt like there were people who knew how to play the game, and they were taking advantage of things called homebrew. For those that don't know, it's basically, it's not part of the main D&D thing, so it's kind of that this isn't part of the main crap. I'm sorry guys. I get a little tongue-tied, or I get overzealous, get too excited for my own good, so I tend to get brain dead. Basically, whenever some people play homebrew, they try to make the characters broken as crap. And so I tell people, no, we just won't do homebrew. Yeah, for those that probably do play homebrew, I only accept homebrew if it's like, if it's acceptable and you're not taking like a long time with your turn. Does that make sense? Maybe it didn't. So anyways, as I explained it to them, hold on. Okay. Well, anyways, I love DMing for them because they really enjoyed it a lot. I don't know. I'm also going off the top of my head, so if so if any of my D&D buddies are playing, yeah, y'all can go ahead and call me on my BS. But in this case, they asked me to DM for them. At first, they asked me to play, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play. And then they asked me to DM, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll love to DM. I like to believe that I actually made the campaign enjoyable for them. We all had a lot of good laughs, but I felt like I made the combat a little too hard. Yeah, I felt that way a couple times. And I really would have enjoyed, but thanks to COVID, kind of put the damper on everything. Yeah, she also showed me a cool game called Haunting Ground. I don't know if any of y'all have ever played before, but I highly recommend it. And if y'all haven't, oh man, y'all don't know what y'all are missing out on a really good game. Yeah. Also, also, if you feel like I'm also incorrectly telling the story, I pretty much am. I probably am. Okay, yeah. She's chatting me up right now and correcting me. Hi, Renee. So, yeah. I tried getting her into the Resident Evil games, but she said it wasn't her thing. But I asked her I asked her out on the stream because I just like an audience. I'm also getting started on my YouTube channel. And this could also be a great way to talk to, or for my friends to get to know me a little more. And I am totally going... I just went the wrong way again. I didn't mean to do that. Why do I keep doing that? If this was a speedrun, I would have failed. Actually, I probably would have failed 28 minutes ago. Yeah, you gotta complete this version of the speedrun in 3 hours. Good thing I'm not speedrunning the game. Oh, some other fun D&D adventures. So, as D&D goes, sorry, I got brain dead there for a second. Another fun D&D adventure was it was the very first group that I was ever a part of. Not the very first group, I'm sorry. It was the second group. But it was my brother's first time DMing. It was my first time playing Wizard. And it was actually all our first time probably playing 5e. The only experience I had with D&D at this point was I only played 4th edition. And I don't know why, but I actually had it, the very first group I was a part of, the DM, he had this thing where we had to play 4th edition D&D. I didn't see it as a big thing at the time, but apparently it's what he wanted to play, and we were like, well, you're the DM, so we gotta do what you say, bud. Well, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I just wanted to play... I was a college freshman. I wanted to play D&D, make friends. Yeah, I didn't end up sticking with none of those guys. Actually, there was one person I stuck with for a little while, but I fell out of touch with him. But he had his quirks, but he was a pretty chill dude from time to time. So the D&D I did with my brother and my other friends, well, on our very first session, because after we built characters, we did a session. We were in a town called Linos. And Linos was a town I'm pretty sure my brother made up, or he picked it up from somewhere. And we kind of had this strategy, or apparently at some point, one of them decided, hey, let's rob the place. And I think we were there to actually search for information about something. I can't remember exactly the reason why we were there. Oh, and you'll see why, because apparently the events of what happened at Linos, well, everything gets kind of overshadowed. And allow me to explain why. So, there's this tavern that we were in, and apparently they were trying to steal the alcohol, money from the cash register. You know, they were trying to loot the place, and they weren't successful, completely at least. Not completely successful, no. Instead, they were caught. And they said, we need a distraction right now. Wizard, give us a distraction. Well, they thought I was carrying prestidigitation. No, I firebolted the place, and apparently I set the tavern on fire. While everyone else was doing their own version of distracting, eventually the tavern goes up in smoke. They walk out with the money and the booze, and ever since then we called it a legitimate strategy known as the Linos Beer Party. And it's been a running joke in our group ever since. In fact, my brother and I went to go watch Onward, and there's a point in the movie. By the way, spoiler alert for those that don't want to be spoiled to the movie. There's actually a part called. There's actually a part where they go find the Manticore at a tavern, and the tavern is apparently like some kind of how do I put it? Yeah, the tavern itself. It's part of the movie, and it's actually a pretty hilarious part of the movie. and the tavern gets turned on fire because the Manticore just goes crazy and just lights everything on fire. Finally, I looked at my brother and said, "So, we just witnessed Leno's beer party," and he could not stop laughing because, and on top of that, Onward has so many D&D references. I swear, I think Pixar decided, hey, we're gonna play D&D and we're gonna see where this goes. Yeah, we're gonna see where this goes, and oh my gosh. They were freaking out at the fact that the Leno. Every time we mention Leno's beer party, everyone goes, "What's that?" For all new players that join us, and then we have to explain Leno's beer party. And I'm surprised no one ever said, "Why don't we go to a tavern and show him?" And actually, we put in one of the tactics that we had was called Leno's beer party. Every time somebody brought it up, somebody would go, "Oh dear Lord, we're going to go to jail." Yeah, it was one of the funniest things, and it was totally something that Kevin, my brother Kevin, never thought was going to happen. Yeah. So, I appreciate you stopping by, Renee. Yeah, you get to listen to all my stuff. I still think they stole my small moment from D&D. Half of the plot was stuff I actually written, and I get that they were common, but still. Yeah, honestly, I could understand probably from Kevin, from an author's point of view. I can definitely understand your frustration. You had a plan, you wanted them to stick with it, but you ran into a very small problem. You were DMing a bunch of chaotic idiots that were willing to, well, I'll put it this way, they were all willing to ruin everything for you. Sorry, bud. That's just what happened. And I do feel bad that my brother has to go through that. Rook. Oh. You meant on Onward. Never mind, actually, then. Huh? Never mind. Never mind. My bad, Kevin. I didn't realize you were talking about Onward. I thought you were actually making a comment on the D&D campaign. Okay. Alright, the rook's next to the knight, but not facing the queen. The queen ain't next to the queen, but facing the knight. Right at the end. Yeah, I think this is the pawn. That's the bishop. I think the knight's over here. That's the pawn. The bishop. The knight. If I read my thing correctly, I think this goes over here. And then it was... yeah. But yeah, the Onward thing was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching Onward with you, buddy. Probably the last thing is actually, I can't believe it, that was the last movie I watched before I left Alpine. And it would continue to be the last movie I watched until last week, whenever Jurassic Park came out in the city I'm currently living in. And apparently, yeah, it was like, there's only two, yeah, in the city I'm currently living in, there's only 2 movie theaters that are open. It's a drive-through, and then I think it's like a city in the, or it's at a mall. And I think it's like it has an IMAX. It has DR screen, like DMAX or something like that. I can't remember. I think it's like I think it's like a discounted version of 4D. If people don't know what 4D is, well, there's very few movies that do 4D, and I think it's mostly an Asian territory thing. And the only movie I ever heard of that actually went to 4D was Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar. And right now, my brother's probably singing himself, "His name is James Cameron, the bravest pioneer." Every time we go to a James Cameron movie and we just see like one of his big special effects stunts that he's known for, immediately, we could be totally into it. Immediately, one of us starts singing it. It's beautiful. Anyways, yeah, so I got to watch Jurassic Park last week. It was the first movie I watched in the movie theater in a long time. But honestly, it's kind of a sad summer because summers were all the good blockbuster movies. I have made every single one of them, and because this pandemic has happened, well, we didn't get to see Wonder Woman in June. July, we did not get to go see Ghostbusters, and a bunch of other movies. Oh yeah, Mulan, Black Widow. Black Widow would have probably been the movie that started it all, too. And I was so excited for New Mutants. I had been waiting for New Mutants since the first trailer dropped. And it kept getting delayed. I remember the first time it got delayed, and all I could think of was, wait, wasn't we supposed to get a new X-Men movie? Oh yeah, I think it's called New Mutants. And it didn't happen. I was like, so bummed. I always thought, why didn't that happen? Well, I finally learned later the reason why it didn't happen was just because it kept getting delayed, creative differences, studio drawbacks, all those kinds of things. Eventually, I think what ends up happening is that Disney buys a hold of it, and apparently they edit the movie some so that way the X-Men can be oh crap. Oh crap. That was supposed to be a knife. That was supposed to be a knife, not a grenade. I am so sorry, zombie. I meant to knife you to death. Oh yeah, this is another thing that I also hate about this game, is that I know, see this film roll right here? It says hiding places. And I know where those hiding places are. I know them by memory. And I hate the fact that I could be at the beginning of the game, and those hiding places are not unlocked until I find that film roll. I hate that. Because everywhere else, here's an example. This locker I come up to, right? This open one. It used to have a lock on it. You do not know the password, or you do not know the combination to that lock until you get to a certain area that you unlock in this police station. For those that don't know, I'm in a police station. And when you finally unlock it, whenever you finally find it, you can just memorize the combination. So whenever you do the next run through, you can, when I do the next run through, I just simply do the combination and I get the item early. But in this game, that's not the case. In this game, you gotta actually find the photos of the hiding places. Oh, can't forget our sweet girl Rebecca. Where's our sweet girl Rebecca? By the way, like I said, it's pretty creepy that the captain of the STARS division has a 19-year-old girl's photo of her when I'm pretty sure she's in high school, wearing wearing a basketball thing in a very suggestive pose. Basically, she's all hot, sweaty after playing basketball, and apparently he keeps a photo of it. See? Yeah, he keeps a... Yeah, Albert Wesker is a pervert. Yeah, I think 4D, Renee, if you're hearing this, I don't think she is. But for those that don't know, 4D movies, yeah, the movie theater will move, but it'll also give off scents. For those that don't know. Yeah, sorry, I'm totally switching conversations here. That's because I have people texting me on my phone that are responding instead of using the comment section, which I totally don't mind. You know, a lot of people want to talk about their stuff. In fact, like, I'm probably going to text her back now because it looks like, according to my on-air thing, only one person is viewing my thing, and I'm pretty sure it's just my brother lurking on me. So that's okay. I don't mind. I just prefer talking, even though my jaw's starting to hurt. Man, how does Minimail and Markiplier do all this? But then again, I'm pretty sure they film like 2 hours of footage, and then they have like they only put 20 minutes on, unless they live stream everything. And then they just make like a highlight video. Then I need to figure out how to make highlight videos. Oh my gosh, you're still alive. I'm keeping you that way. That's gonna bite me in the butt. I just know it. I don't even want to go into that room. Nah, this is the room we were going into. He can stay there. And this should give me flamer fuel. Yup, there it is. Ooh, yeah. I like getting the flamethrower. Hi, person, I just joined the chat, or the live stream. Well, as I was explaining, I think it was, I don't remember the actual name, but I think it's like DMAX or something like that, where the movie theater moves along with you. I think actually there's a lot of, there's actual movie stars that say they don't actually like that. And not because like the movie makes them queasy or whatever. It's because they believe movies are a work of art. Anything that you watch is a form of art in some kind of way. But they feel like movies like they'll probably tell you like the first Jurassic Park movie was a work of art. And I believe that. Like I love watching the first Jurassic Park movie just because even all the special effects stuff, it still moves me in a very artistic way. Then you have and then they probably explain like movies like Jurassic World, definitely the Avengers. They're more of an amusement park ride for people. That's how they see it. It's like they're making money off of an amusement park. And I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of a thing. And a lot of it's actually, these are actors that were actually asked. Like Jennifer Aniston was asked to be in the MCU. And she actually said no because she doesn't want to be in a movie that's going to make... she's already a big star. People know Jennifer Aniston. And they said that you only want me in there because of my name or some kind of BS like that. But basically, in her words, I'm a star and I have self-respect as an actor because this is an art form and not a quick cash cow. And honestly, I think like she should give it, like, I don't know how to go along with that, but basically, sometimes I think she just needs to chill out, you know? We get it. You're everyone's friend. Sorry, I'm trying to get this guy to turn around, but it looks like he's kind of stuck. Yeah, I'm trying. He's kind of stuck. But you know what, though? Like, I like these just the way they are. I absolutely love them. Like, I like going, like I don't care how old the movie is. If it's my favorite movie, I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. Heck, I almost wanted to go drop money for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's actually one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. I just went in another circle. Might as well commit to it now. It's funny because I actually did this level, not kidding, yesterday. I did 2 streams. I finished Claire's stream, and then I finished Claire's run through, and then I did half of Leon's run through. I went through this with Claire, and I remembered the entire map like it was the back of my hand. And then I'm trying to go do this again, and I need to get to a specific entrance in the game, so that way I can get rid of this T-tool or the T-bar. I guess I'm just pretty fried from work. Yeah, I work at a deli in a supermarket. I spent what's called. I got to cook today. It's my first time cooking. They're training me to cook. I was just serving at first, and apparently after my first day, they said I prefer you cook for us instead of the people that we hired to cook for us. I guess I'm just kind of a likable person. Or maybe it was just because like I know my way around the kitchen, and I think these are some of the people that they hired their first time. But I don't know. Like, that's kind of the... It's kind of that thing. But I kind of liked it until I had to clean the deep fryers. My brother knows what I'm talking about because he cooks with fried chicken. And I love fried chicken, I really do. But man, I had to cook some fried chicken. I'm pretty sure my brother is tired of fried chicken, as he says as he eats a bucket of KFC. Yeah, I will admit, cleaning deep fryers are kind of as a pain in the butt. Oh, here's the entrance, yeah. This is the entrance I was looking for. I had remembered, but the thing is, I'm trying to go in a way where I don't... I don't have... just so you know, I went a way that connects everything. Oh yes, I know you would eat something while you protest. That's actually what makes you a beautiful human being, my brother. That usually is. Like, my brother's the kind of guy that will do the thing he is protesting. For example, he could protest... Oh, wait. I better finish my other thought before I start on my brother Kevin. So, I had opened the door on this side, so I could have already gone in here any time. But I wanted to open the door on this side, so that way I can discard this tool and not feel guilty about it. Because that means I finished using that tool. So anyways, now about my brother. Yes, you see, my brother is a special kind of nutcase. He's the kind of nutcase that will, basically, he'll protest something. Let's just say for the...
What the hell was that?
Yeah, I have no idea, Leon. Let's just say for the heck of it, he's protesting on wasting bullets in a video game, right? Let's just say that's the heck of it. As he's doing that, he's probably playing Call of Duty Zombies, fighting off hordes and hordes of zombies. And by the time he's done with his protest, he's gonna be like, guys, I found more ammo. Or, you know, he'll just proceed to make his point, and he'll continue doing that. Maybe that was a bad example. But in this case, my brother is probably protesting, I don't want to clean the fryers. I'm tired of cleaning the fryers. I'm tired of fried chicken. I'm tired of everything. I protest. Can we do something different? Somebody let me make curry. Somebody let me make omelet rice. And somebody make... At this point, he's got his mouth full of chicken tenders. Yeah. He's not a complicated guy. He's someone simple to understand. It's just... Sometimes... He just makes you want to shake his head. Just shake your head at him. Like, why are you like this? We love you, but why? Like, my brother could be like an anti-masker. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but my brother could definitely be an anti-masker. And he would be wearing a mask doing it. And when people ask, wait, why are you wearing a mask if you're an anti-masker? He'll be like, I don't want to get sick. I may be an idiot, but I'm not stupid. Actually, that was probably the best example I gave out about him today. Way to go, me. Now I'm about to waste Magnum ammo. Because I didn't want to deal with that guy. Speaking of which, I actually know an anti-masker. Yeah. She's well, I'll put it this way. She's a lot of not very nice things. Did that guy live? Oh, there was more. Okay. That makes sense.
Jesus.
Okay. I'm not saying my brother isn't an anti-masker. He's not. I just know someone that is, and she's a few. She's a what's called. She's a few. What's called. She's not the brightest crayon in the crayon box. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. She's a few fries short of a Happy Meal. I can go on and on. I can do this all night. Well, actually, I probably won't do this all night. I'll probably eventually run out of stuff and go. And you will be able to tell I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel when I go through that. But I kid you not, like, she actually tried to defend being an anti-masker. But I think she's just tired. And I do mean tired of just wearing a mask. I'm tired of it too. I have to be I have to be working at a deli. And apparently one time this guy took off his mask to talk to a customer because you couldn't understand him behind his mask. And she had a hearing problem, so he made his voice more clear and audible. And then we got a health inspector called on us. Yeah.
Shit!
Dang. I totally misinterpreted that dude. I know what you're thinking for some of those that joined the stream. Why don't you blow this dude's head off? He's totally asking for it. You totally could do it. Why haven't you? I'll tell you one good reason why I haven't. It's because they decide to make the bullet sponges. Yeah, no, I think I'm running away from these guys. Ah! Snap. Kill him! Oh snap, I didn't kill him. Yeah, I've had better runs with this, just so y'all know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm going to start saying something. An old teacher of mine used to say this, and I loved it that he said this. Ladies and gargantuas. He got it from an old radio show. And then we proceeded to look at him and go, dang, you're old, bud, because we knew what he meant. We knew what a radio show was. I bet there are kids that are from Gen Z who are like, what's a radio show? Like XM radio? Because we listen to Pandora. Nah, it's probably not that bad. But I have met some pretty bad bad kids like that. Example, I told a bunch of people, Gen Zers, Netflix used to come in the mail. I swear they did not believe me at all. And probably some of you that don't know, I'll go ahead and explain it. So Netflix was originally a site where you can order movies on what's called on your computer, and they would be mailed to you as a DVD. Yeah, that was quite the thing back in the day. Yeah, it's kind of a thing back in the day, and there are people that actually like. I kind of understand that kind of sounds ridiculous considering Netflix is all about streaming now, but actually, I think it was about that started back in 2005. It's actually what ended up beating out Blockbuster, along with other several things. I don't pretend to be entirely knowledgeable of that, but I like to think that I think Netflix was the one that ended up beating out Blockbuster. By the way, but I mean, I gotta say, by the way, poor Blockbuster. I used to like going there. You can get snacks, you could rented video games. Actually, believe it or not, if you play the Japanese version of Resident Evil 2, the original, and compare it to the American version of it, and yeah, compare. I guess I did it on the wrong walls. Yeah, I think I did this wrong. Yeah, and you compare it to what America did. Apparently, America made the game harder because they decided. Basically, America made the game so much harder to play. Well, they just added more zombies, and it was a lot harder to take down. But they did that to decrease rental fees. Basically, they don't want people renting their games. They weren't making money off of people renting games. The real money was where, the real money was to be made elsewhere. And they wanted you to buy the game. And even if you did, they didn't have a difficulty setting, so you had to live with, basically, we're trying to end, dang, I could have sworn that was right. What did I do wrong? Oh, it's knight, rook. Okay, no, knight, rook, pawn. King, bishop, queen. I feel like I had it right the first time. Again, I wrote this down like a year ago. And I wrote them down because way back then because I was trying to... Actually, maybe I think I'm doing this completely wrong. Yeah. Oh, well, obviously I'm doing this wrong. I think I'm misreading it. Because I knew one of these things I misread. It's knight, rook, pawn. Yeah, here we go. Hold on, yeah, I gotta read what I wrote. Yeah, so yeah, like basically after when I did my first run through of the game, I loved it so much I went through a second run through, but I wrote everything down. The heck? That should have worked. Let me read this real quick. The rook's next to the knight, but not facing the queen. The king ain't next to the queen, but facing the knight. Right at the end, and the knight ain't where the case marking says. Okay. So there, yeah, I figured out where I got it backwards now. Yeah, so basically the way I wrote it was this wall first, and then that wall next. But I think I'm going to rewrite everything into a notebook that I bought a while back. And it's going to actually have this puzzle, because like this puzzle is completely different from the original run through. The original run through, it's so much easier. What just happened? That should have worked. Yeah, this is the knight. And the rook's next to the knight. Yeah. Unless, again, I goofed. Apparently, I thought I was smart enough to solve this way back in the day, or way back then. Yeah, I gotta really write the walls. Like, I gotta... Yeah. I swear, people, I'm not drugs. I'm really this dumb. By the way, don't do drugs. This is what happens. You misread your own notes. Are you kidding me? That should have worked. Wait a minute. I know what I did wrong. Pawn plug goes there. I got the king and queen mixed up. Yeah, I mostly do, whenever I did the speedruns, I did scenario A because scenario A would give me half an hour more time Plus, I actually could read what I wrote.
Okay, almost there, Ada.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab another. I'm actually probably gonna grab some flamer fuel. Actually, I don't want to grab the flamer fuel. I will store the shotgun because I kind of don't need it at the moment. Yeah. Let me see, what time is it? Yeah, I think I'll fight this boss and call it quits because it's pretty late to stream. And I'm not trying to make my streaming life a full-time, but I really felt like talking to you guys today. Yeah, especially my Alpine peeps. I miss y'all. Oh yeah, I don't know if Renee is still on. I'll probably talk to her later about it, but apparently I went to an old place called 806 Games, and the first thing I did when I walked in was I asked, hey, but do y'all guys have a game by any chance called Rule of Rose? Not Rule of Rose, I'm sorry. It was Haunting Ground. The first thing they told me was, dude, that is an expensive game if you're trying to buy it from here. Because we'll sell it at market value price. And apparently they looked it up and they said $350. Yeah, you'd be paying a pretty penny for that game. And you're not the only person that asks for that game. And also, they also asked for Rule of Rose. Were you looking into that one too? I looked at it and said, well, that all depends. Do y'all have it? And he goes, no, we don't have it. I'm going to tell you right now. And people will pay just as much, even more, for Rule of Rose. Because that's even more rare than Haunting Ground. For those that don't know, I'm pretty sure the people who are watching do know. Because all my friends know I love talking about these games. Absolutely do. But to give background on people that don't know, Haunting Ground is a rare game because it didn't do well in the States. And that's just mostly because it has very, the content on it is very, I don't know if distasteful is the right word, but basically not everybody's okay, because it involves, basically a cult that's trying to, it's about a cult leader that's trying to achieve immortality, but in order to do so, he has to impregnate a girl, and let's just say she is less than willing. But what makes the gameplay fun though is that she can't attack except for like a small kick, but it doesn't really do a lot. You feel helpless when you play the game, and you're probably thinking, what kind of a game should we play with that? Well, the thing is, it's actually a pretty well done concept. It's a survival horror game. They want you to feel that way because. And this is also a very controversial topic when the game, but they want you to basically feel helpless as much as possible. They want you to feel that sudden helplessness, that sudden feeling of helplessness. Yeah, I wasted my ammo for nothing. I was trying to get him to stay down. Yeah, as I explained last stream, you could... Yeah, everybody has done this one part twice, at least. Like, you at least gotta do this twice to knock him over. But there's a way to do it one time. But I've only ever been able to do it with the, like, infinite ammo weapons. For obvious reasons, that's infinite ammo. And there's also a rocket launcher and a minigun. And all you do is just basically just let the gun do the talking. That keeps them pinned down. So for the whole Rule of Rose thing, or the whole Haunting Ground thing, this game was kind of controversial in the States, but what made it really not do well is that it was also released the same week RE4 came out on the PS2. So a lot of people didn't play or pay attention to that game a lot. So it didn't do well in the States, at least. It did kind of well in European territories. It did phenomenally well in Japan. Everybody absolutely loved it in Japan. It was totally up their alley. But it was in the other game, Rule of Rose, though, that just was not critically received. It's a very psychological horror. It deals with a lot of heavy subject materials. But a lot of people, and I do mean a lot of people, they do not,
Over here.
they did not feel comfortable with the game because it involves a lot of children doing hazing rituals, and then they have at some point,
Just do it. I can't walk like this.
a society, they basically, how was it? I forget the actual words. But apparently the popular kids were considered the upper class, and then they had people who were middle class. Then they had people who were the lower class, and then they actually had poor, which is the main character you play as. She's in the poor class, and there's one person below her, which is beggar. And apparently all these rituals were not very well received when they did this. Nobody really liked the fact that about the heavy subjects, and then on top of that, I was constantly picking on the poor girl, and then it was a bunch of adults doing really nasty things to these kids, and it was supposed to be such a heavy subject game. On top of that, I can't even describe the gameplay because mostly people talk about the subject matter aside from the gameplay. They always talk about the story. And it's another game where you play as a girl who has a dog companion that helps you out throughout the game. I don't know if Rule of Rose has a similar thing with Haunting Ground, but in Haunting Ground, you have to either hide or you have to train your dog to attack. And then there are certain points where you actually get abilities for the dog. And Rule of Rose, like I said, every time I try to put anything into this game, all of them are retrospective views. I personally haven't actually delved deep into finding gameplay. It was mostly knowing what the game was about, and so many video analysis about the game with its heavy subject material. And every time I look it up, it's like $500, along with Haunting Ground being $350, and it's all old PS2 games. And going to 806 Games, apparently those are their highly requested PS2 games. Right next to Silent Hill 2, and they actually get that a lot more often than most. And actually, when I went there, they had Silent Hill 3 on PS2 for $125. And honestly, I thought that it was a pretty cool. I like the idea that they had these games available. Yeah, most places that you go that sell used or pre-owned games, they sell alongside new games, and they usually do cheap prices on pre-owned games. A lot of them are like, well, it was pre-owned, it's in excellent condition, it's kind of popular, so we'll mark it down for about $30 or something. You know, they know people aren't going to buy they're there for the new games. They're not really there for the pre-owned games, so they don't specialize in completely pre-owned. Some stores do, but they won't sell them at ridiculous prices. This place, 806 Games, coolest place I've ever been to, and everything there is pre-owned. I think the only thing they sell that's actually new is accessories for systems, including older systems. Like, I saw a thing for Hey You Pikachu N64 console, and they had loads of them too. All pre-owned, obviously. And they had a bunch of, you can buy a bunch of old consoles there. I found an Atari that's like the size of a printer. That's not joking. Like, this thing could have been its own fax machine, and it had small cartridges too. It was actually a pretty cool place. If my brothers ever come down to visit, probably the first place I'll take them, and they're just gonna have a sweet nostalgia trip. I was so happy being there. I felt like I should have thanked these people by buying a game from them. Unfortunately, I didn't buy any of the. I bought a pre-owned game, but I didn't buy any on an older console. No, I didn't want to rebuy a game I already had as a digital copy and format. Now, when I look back at it, I probably should have bought Digimon, because I'm getting into the I'm kind of having my own Digimon craze. It's like, for me, it's kind of like a Renaissance revival. I bought the complete edition, and I actually completed the complete edition of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth on the Switch yesterday night. I beat the story. It's actually it's a very bittersweet ending to Hacker's Memory. I won't get too much into it. And those guys, I've described those games to my friends. It's Persona with Digimon mixed together. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but yeah, there's a lot of old school games that are really good. Especially with horror games. Oh man, it's hard to find good horror games these days. Most people have to go into indie platforms and then horror games in the actual market are kind of hit or miss. And if the Resident Evil series tells us, sometimes they have really good games and sometimes they have total stinkers. And they try to keep with the same formula so that way they can keep selling more. I don't know if people know this, but Capcom used to do a lot of horror games. They had a Resident Evil clone called Dino Crisis, and I think Dino Crisis is not fair to call it a Resident Evil clone, but it was kind of a Resident Evil clone. Yeah, a friend just gave me a comment on Rule of Rose. She told me that combat mechanics and saving were horrendous in Rule of Rose, and a lot of it came down to budget towards the end of the development. And honestly, that's what it kind of goes. That kind of budget kind of messes up games too, because you want to tell your story, you want to make the gameplay fun, but you can't have both if you're on a budget. You gotta have one or the other. Some have big budgets where they allow them. For example, Resident Evil 2 had a pretty big budget for its remake. It had been in development for about 5 years, or maybe it was like 4 years. I can't remember. I think it was announced in 2016 actually. So it was about a 3-year development period. They were probably in it for much longer than that. And they had a big budget, so they were able to work on the story and stuff like that. But looking back at some of those games, a lot of them are pretty good. Like, I think after Silent Hill pretty much left PS2, it kind of went downhill from there. Pun intended. I'm not a coward. I intend my puns. But the horror games, man, like, I literally asked them, hey, what's a horror game that you honestly like? And I actually stole that question from my friend Renee, because that's how she actually got Haunting Ground, believe it or not. And it's actually an interesting story that she told me. I was actually jealous of her. Haunting Ground was still kind of in circulation at the time. Maybe it wasn't. But they went basically to a GameStop saying, we're looking for a horror game. We want something that will scare us or something. Give us something that we haven't heard of before. And the guy pulled up Haunting Ground, and that's how she got the copy of the game. It was first her friend's, and then her friend gave it to her, and then I got to play the game, but I was totally jealous. Because that's actually, I found a game that was really cheap for $20, but it was the European version of the game. There's something wrong with the European version, except my PS2 can't play that game. I would basically have to dish out money to buy a European version of a PS2 plus the game, which at that point I might as well just buy an American copy of the game. Let me see. Yeah. And that's also a fun thing too, is yeah, but for me, I enjoy horror games because it's something that's completely different. Some of them can be completely off the wall, like the Resident Evil series, or something psychological like Haunting Ground or Rule of Rose. Personally, I haven't played Rule of Rose, but the way my friend described Rule of Rose, oh my gosh, I wish I played it. Mostly for the story. I think I could. But then again, there's a lot of fun games out there where you absolutely hate the gameplay mechanics, but because it's such a story to play, you want it to enjoy it somehow, some way. If I ever do find a copy for the game and I have better equipment to stream on, I'll most likely put it on a stream. Because I would love to play... I would love to play those games, just saying. For you guys. Especially since I'm kind of early in YouTube, so I don't have to worry about demonetization as much. If those games would get me demonetized, I'm pretty sure RE2 would get me demonetized. I don't like to think that way because I like to think of this as being a more positive experience. So I'm just doing this for I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing this to get popular or anything like that. But you know, it'd be awesome if I did though. Just saying. You know, one of the things I like about games is, I don't know if anybody has ever brought this up, but one of the biggest things I have a problem with games is hair. They can never get hair right. And there are a few games that, you know, they manage to do it correctly, and it looks really good when they do it. So, I don't know if that's another thing for somebody. That's a thing for me. And hair was one of the biggest things. And this game, I think they nailed hair pretty well. Because it doesn't really bother me. But there are some old PS2 games where it really did bother me. I don't know. I'm kind of a weird one when it comes to certain things. It's kind of like, how to describe it? I don't know if anyone's ever had this specific issue that I'm about to talk about. But it's like, you look at something and something's like bothering you. Okay, it's kind of like, if anybody has noticed, Kristen Stewart from the Twilight series or Snow White and the Huntsman, games like that. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed, but whenever she is on camera, she always has her mouth slightly open. It's ever so little. And I knew somebody that was bothered by that. Just completely bothered by it. I asked her why, and she's like, don't you ever notice it? And then I thought about it, and I was like, oh snap, I did notice that. Wow, how did I miss that? I think after I started talking about her, I got dropped in views. Ah, sad day, sad day. I was just trying to make a point. I didn't mean to kick people off. I promise I will not talk about Twilight stuff on here again. Oh, there you go. I made the promise and the guy came back. How awesome is that? That's actually pretty hilarious. So, I guess if anything's like a little off in a room, like have you ever had your room just perfect and then your mom goes and dusts a little bit and the next thing you know, that figurine you had is a little off to the left? Oh, snap, I totally forgot that was a thing. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has that experience before. But basically, you know something is off, it's bugging you. And to me, that's what kind of hair in video games is. It just bugs me to look at. And a lot of it's just because they can be doing this crazy head animation, but the hair doesn't follow. It's like somebody had really bad hair, or had really thick hair gel, and fixed it to where it's not going to move. Don't even try. Let me see, what's this? OSS? I was talking to my brother Marcus about this a while back. I was playing Resident Evil with Jill's stream. Oh no, Claire. I was running Claire, and he was talking to me on the stream. And he was going, "Hey," I was going, "Hey, this is the problem that you had, buddy," and he could not figure out for the life of him that puzzle that I just did. If you even want to call it a puzzle. I certainly don't. But basically, it's moving those waves in a certain way. He had a problem with it, and I showed him how to do it, and he never had the problem again, apparently. But every time he would do it, he just never could figure it out. I watched him do it, and it was pretty painful to watch. But then again, for anybody who has a brother or sibling or somebody that they're close to, and they watch them do a puzzle, and they figure it out or they keep getting it wrong and it just bugs you. But it's also hilarious to kind of watch a little bit. I don't know, I kind of have a really broad sense of humor, as I've described to many people. Like my brother Kevin It drove him nuts. I was doing the puzzle with Sherry, where you have like these 5 blocks. You got to line them up with the correct shapes and stuff. If you want to open a compartment that unlocks scissors. And I think I had gotten it right. And then I see in the comment section, you had it right. So I switched them back as soon as I saw in the comments. And I put it down. And he was like, I was screaming in my room, you got it right. And I watch the same thing whenever he streamed Haunting Ground on Twitch. By the way, Cater on Twitch. Follow the guy. So he watched me do this entire thing on so basically he watched me I watched him painfully try to solve a puzzle. I kept hinting at him at different things, like, and they weren't subtle hints. They were pretty. I guess he wasn't thinking of it at the time, but also like his stream was like it had some kind of delay, like 20-second delay. So we had to time the delay with the stream. So I don't blame him for that. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, this hurts to watch. This physically hurts to watch. Yeah. Whatever. He knows I love him. So, anyways. It's kind of funny to watch people like solve a puzzle and just scream at the screen, "You got it right." I guess that's kind of how I guess that's like a very mellow version of how people watching Twitch plays Pokemon goes a little bit. It's like, you got it right the first time. Why did you keep changing it? I love that regulator. Yeah, if people weren't paying attention, I equipped a regulator to my thing. Okay, cool. Now this is our easy unlocks. Oh wow, apparently Rule of Rose actually has great hair graphics. Wow, I'm chalking another good one for them. There are some PS2 games that have really good hair graphics. I won't be a harsh critic to all of them. But there are some where I'm just kind of like, it bothers me, they're hanging upside down and the hair's not dangling. It's an extreme exaggeration. But there are some where it does feel like that. Alright, just open that thing. And, yeah. Wait, I got something wrong. What was that? Dude, I'm talking shit about all our puzzle skills. And I probably shouldn't have cussed on stream anyways. I deserve that. So, yeah, Marcus, I'm talking crap about all our puzzle solving skills. Kevin and I are just as bad. Kevin was screaming at me earlier about a puzzle with some blocks. And it was hilarious, because like, I'm actually really good with these puzzles on this game, because I played them so much. So I know the ins and outs of these games. Okay, so you've been lurking and you've been playing Smash. I figured that was the case. I wasn't sure who's all watching or who's all... Really? The cussing thing's fine? I still don't want to cuss. I mean, there's a lot of cuss words in this game already. Honestly, I think if anything's getting me demonetized, it's just the fact that I'm playing a game that's not suitable for a bunch of people. I mean suitable as in there are apparently demographics that I'm supposed to be appealing to, and they're not my target audience. I have a general audience that's my target, but like I can't put on YouTube I have a general audience, and they're purposefully doing that. I don't want to make content for kids because then I don't make any money off the revenue, assuming that it happens. And that's a big assumption, and I'm not going to make that assumption. So I'm just doing, and on top of that, I'm playing a game that's rated M for mature. So if they really try to make it for kids, I'll fight it. I'll be like, in for mature. Yeah, I am trying to appeal to a broader audience. In fact, like, what was it? I saw a YouTube animator go, well, I know I'm going to be talking about Disney stuff, so I might as well get some bad things in here, so that way people don't think, oh my gosh, this is for kids, and YouTube strikes COPPA on me. Because let me tell you, COPPA ain't fun. Like, in fact, I was like looking at my channel, and it was saying, what is this video for? Kids or for adults? And I was like, I don't want to market. I can market as adults. It'll be totally fine because it says Resident Evil. If you have to be living under a rock, if you don't know what Resident Evil is, but I'm pretty sure talking about negative stuff on YouTube like COPPA just lost me a viewer, which I'm pretty sure that may not be the case. It's probably people who are lurking too much, and then all of a sudden it drops a viewer saying, "Oh, this person's not participating in the comment section," which is really kind of dumb. If you ask me. Sorry I got this game all paused and stuff. I'm actually kind of looking up how to do this puzzle real quick. Let me see. Yeah. And before... Let's test if it drops a viewer or not. Alright, let's go for it. COPPA, you're a fucking joke. No, I don't think that was the case. No. Okay, Marcus, I don't know if you were paying attention, because I think it's just you and Kevin now. Oh, really? Lucia in Street Fighter V is pretty cool. I actually haven't gotten the expansion for it, so I can get all the characters. I thought about streaming Street Fighter V whenever I bought the expansion for it, so I can have all the characters, but I think that would be a pretty boring 2-hour stream. I think the only way I can make that interesting for myself is I grab my fight stick. So other than that, though, this doesn't give me the actual thing. Sorry, it's like a... Yeah, so... Yeah, but earlier, it's kind of funny, Marcus, I don't know if you were listening to this, but... I was talking about Twilight, and I had like at one point 4 views at my highest. And I started talking. I wasn't talking about Twilight specifically, but I was talking about how if you ever watch the Twilight, anything with Kristen Stewart in it, she has this thing where she keeps her mouth open when her face is still. When she is told to keep still, her mouth is slightly open. You can see her mouth open. Even in Snow White, the first thing that opens whenever she gets wakened by True Love's kiss is her mouth and not her eyes. It's absolutely hysterical. Somebody pointed that out to me, and I was like, I could never unsee it after that. Even whenever I look back at it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so hilarious. That's funny. It's great. And then, let me see. You know what? Screw it. I'm tired of looking that up. I'll do this myself. Fine, I'll do this myself.
Manual mode engaged. Adjust amount of solution to match cartridge capacity.
Pretty sure. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of going for a small achievement here, but I don't think that'll be the case. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case. Oh, wait. I may not have done that right. There we go. Yeah, sorry I got a little quiet there for a second, guys. Oh my gosh. I think the stream's going on longer than it should have. Okay. I really wanted to finish this tonight, but I don't think I'll be able to. So I think what I'll do... I'll backtrack a little bit. Now I kind of think about it, it'd probably been easier if I just pressed forward and just went to and just unlocked it. Actually, I probably could have unlocked the save point, but that's okay. Yeah, I've done second runs, but for some reason I like doing them better as Claire. I like doing it better as Claire because she gets a suppressor at some point. Haha. Alright, guys. Alright, brothers. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a good night. I miss and love y'all. And just so you know, my brothers are actually on stream at this point. For future viewers that watch this. Alright. Y'all have a good night.